Ripcross.
Trying to live their lives. We only do it for the fame. We only do it.
Don't want to get up to check the surf? You don't have to.
With the new GPS 2, you can check the tides and the conditions anytime. Brought straight to your watch from Ripcross partners at Surfline.
Ripcross. Search GPS 2 doesn't just track surfing.
From swim to snow and run to ride, you can view live speeds and record all of your activities.
Ripcross.
Trying to live their lives. We only do it for the fame. We only do it. Ripcross.
How long do you reckon you got barrel for?
Realistically?
Jesus.
Ripcross.
The new Search GPS 2 doesn't just record stats for you to look through later, you can actually see them as they're happening.
Search GPS 2 lets you record how many waves you catch and your top speed. Ripcross. curl. Rip curl. Rip curl.
All the boys, all three caught waves, and then I thought there wasn't going to be another one after, and then a good one came and I got it, and it ended up being the best wave in the heat.
Waves are firing. See ya.
We are waiting for some swell. Thank you. God, I got the board.
Oh!
With the Search GPS 2, you can set the time, the tide, surf conditions, anywhere and everywhere, inside and outside.
With the touch of a button. Rip cross.
The Search GPS 2 syncs your watch to your iPhone without you having to do anything.
I always log in to check what the waves have been like at home and who's been ripping. Rip cry.
firing. See ya.
We are waiting for some cloud. Wow. Thank you. I got the board. Oh.
With the Search GPS 2, you can set the time, the tide, surf conditions, anywhere and everywhere, inside and outside.
With the touch of a button.
Rip curl.
The Search GPS 2 syncs your watch to your iPhone without you having to do anything.
I always log in to check what the waves have been like at home and who's been ripping. Rip curl.
Using plastic at our events has always been the norm. Recycling helps, but most plastic still ends up here, or worse, here. Plastic never goes away, because with plastic, there is no away. At the rate we're going, by 2050 there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. It's a deep problem. But there are steps we can all take. By cutting out single-serve plastics at our events, we can start turning back the plastic tide. This is our commitment for a stronger ocean. What's yours?
We really need that day that is like basically the day of the year.
Anybody can win.
I want a 10-foot wave, 10-point right.
I'm gonna get to 10-point right.
Double Indonesia's longest running and most prestigious surfing.
I'm just gonna try and get as far as I can.
Get like 6-footer, like perfect 6-footer.
Here's the backhand of Lee Wilson. Clean, good-looking wave.
Everyone's going to put on a show and have good ways to do it.
He is firing out there. And this is a beast of a wave. He's deep, he's driving, he's flying. Here is Jack Robinson. He would love to take out his first win. Now this thing gets really square. And he's still deep, he's driving, he's a long way back. Can he find an exit to the top?
Padang is such a perfect wave. It's really special wave.
Good morning, everybody. It's on when it's on, and it is on today. We are here at Padang on the beautiful Bukit Peninsula of Bali, Indonesia. Boys, this is going to be a monstrous day of surfing. We have so much to look forward to. 16 years, Indonesia's most longest running and prestigious, basically barrel fest. Vaughan Blakey with you here in the commentary booth with my good friends Mark Clift and Matt George.
Morning, everybody.
Welcome to the set, lads. Mark, let's start with you. What are we looking at today?
Well, look, it's an insane event, as you know, Vaughan, and it's been running a long time. We've been waiting, 22 days to pull the trigger. Some calls got made on Friday. Swell's arriving. Here it is. It's on when it's on, and today's the day it's on. So for everybody at home, look, take the day off, basically. Don't go to work. Put your laptops on, check it out all day, because we got 16 of the world's best tube riders in pumping waves, and that's basically what today's all about.
16 of the world's best tube riders at one of the ultimate cathedrals, Matt. I know you're a man who doesn't get lost for words.
That's true. What I think is so spectacular about this contest is not only the wave, but the setting. Here we are at literally the morning of the earth. The Balinese people believe that when the first rays of the sun touch the top of Mount Agung, that begins the Earth's day. And here we are on the morning of the earth. Let's get it on.
I love it, man. Absolutely love it. Incredible images there just to kick off the broadcast. The power, the spirituality of this place. Just that wave in particular, just how thick it gets on that end bowl. Have we got swell? Are we going to see some thick end bowls here today, Mark?
We always do, basically. They're not prepared to run unless it's cranking and the call's been made. So it's a tube shootout. That's all it is. This wave is famous for it. It is Indonesia's, Bali's most famous wave. And everybody that gets an invite to this thing, they're blessed. They all want in. It's a pretty exclusive field. You've got 8 locals, Indonesians, 8 Bulays, Westerners, and that's it. So to get into that top 16 or top 8 if you're a Westerner, it's a pretty big deal. When you get the call up, like a la Matt Wilco, super stoked that he's in for his first time. There's some big names here. So you know, it's a day they all look forward to, and if you get the invite, you are just like royalty.
When you look at the list of winners of this event, it's right down the middle, isn't it? I mean, we've had a few Boulets take it out, but we've had a few of the local boys absolutely dominate out here. Who are you looking forward to seeing
Well, you know,
in this event?
It's interesting you say that, Vaughn. Here's the deal, okay? This contest was originally designed so that the local surfers could pit themselves up against international surfers. And the history of this contest, they expected a sweep of the international surfers. But the fact of the matter is that after 12 years of running, only 3 times has it been won by visitors. The rest has all been locals. Ourselves at Bali Locals, we're very proud of this, Vaughn.
Yeah, you are. You are native to the island now.
And another one on that point, Matt George, is interestingly, the only 3 two-time winners of this event are locals.
Wow.
Being
Yeah,
Megas
that's
Amati,
huge.
he's won it twice. Lee Wilson, I guess they're calling him a local.
Yep, of
And Bowl won
Yes,
the first 2
yeah.
events when this thing kicked off. So
It's also worth noting the guys who aren't from the island who have won. I mean, you've got Jack Robinson, who is
That was
basically
spectacular.
one of the best tube riders in the world today.
Yes.
Jamie O'Brien, who will go down in history as one of the best tube riders of all time. Chris Ward, who everyone knows is like just a beast when it comes to the chunky hollow barrels. I mean,
and
they're no
Carney
sl-
Faint. And Carney
Carney
Faint. All
Faint
right, so
from
let's remember
Lennox.
Carney.
So, mate, like, you're not talking about just any old, you know, tube riders coming to compete in this event. You're up against the absolute apex predators of getting in the cone zone.
Well, it's fantastic that you mentioned Chris Ward. I was lucky enough to be on the scaffolding there when he won, and he promised that if he won, he was going to propose to his wife in front of all of us, and he did it on that stage right there, man.
Oh, man, this is a great little beach. We'll talk about more about this little setting in a moment, but let's have a look at some of the top 5 moments from the Rip Curl Cup over the past 15 years, because
Let's do it.
as you said, Matt, there's been a couple of amazing moments out in the water, but there's also been incredible moments back on the beach, out in the channel. We've seen it all. Let's check it out.
All the boys, all 3 caught waves, and then I thought there wasn't going to be another one after, and then a good one came and I got it, and it ended up being the best wave in the heat.
Amazing images there, Mark. And what I was loving about that was there wasn't a lot of actual moments within the competition in terms of like who was winning heats, but just great stories.
Well, it's epic moments, and epic moments happen. And you know, the tube ride, the double tube ride of Jamie and Rizal, I remember that was actually after a heat, which is why all 3 surfers were on that wave, in case you're wondering, folks.
That's epic.
Michaela Jones behind, Rizal overtakes him, Jamie goes straight into the tube, and when they came out in the channel, and Rizal, you know, was right there thinking, like, how cool was that? I just got so barreled, and then out comes Jamie from behind and bumps into him. It was like it was epic. But
mate, one of those first clips to really go viral too. I remember just
so cool
seeing that all over the place. All right, well, we're lucky enough now to have a very special guest in the booth with us, and it's the comp director, head mojo dude from Rip Curl, Indonesia, James Hendy. How you going, brother?
Yeah, boys.
All
Good
right.
to be here.
Now,
Good to be here with you boys
James,
on the
you
beach.
look relaxed, uncharacteristically
I'm
so.
pretty relaxed. I'm feeling good about this.
Great. Tell us
Yeah.
how hard it was to make the call this morning.
It was always going to be a slow start this morning, and we kind of decided last night that if there was any sign of like proper sets this morning, if people were getting tubed at daybreak, then we'd be calling it, because it's only going to get better during the day. The Surfline official forecast said that we can expect it to be peaking in the afternoon. So we were stoked when we turned up and saw some waves this morning, yeah.
Fantastic, mate. I mean, 16 surfers. I think we were talking about it this morning. Like, calling this thing on is a heavy, heavy burden because, as we all know, you know, the swells can track in. They can sort of change direction at the last minute. You don't know what you're doing. Luckily, we've got Surfline on board to help us out.
Right.
But this year, you know, we're getting towards the end of that little waiting period. Did you think it might slide through?
It's given me palpitations there the last few days, that's for sure. Yeah, it's always so tricky to call. I honestly think it's, I mean, I don't direct many contests, but this is my 11th year in this event, and it doesn't get any easier. Every year it's just, it tests you to the absolute nth degree every year.
So right. Bottom line then, James, how much sleep do you lose in the waiting period?
I try not to lose too much, but yeah, it tests everyone. The whole team it puts everything on the line, and just to be all ready, and in the fact that it might run, like, you know, at that time every single day of the waiting period, you know, we need to be ready. So it's just a real big relief to.
So
to
you mentioned a good thing, James, about your team. So obviously it takes you know, you've got a good team behind you. You've been doing this thing for quite a while.
Yep.
Who are some of the main players in pulling the trigger?
Well, I'd say my main event manager, Danny. He's been doing it a long time. He's been doing it longer than me. Before it was live broadcast. He did it when it was a local event, so he knows the event. He knows logistics on the ground. He gets everything ready, where we're sat now, all the logistics stuff. You know, you don't see all the stuff that happens behind the scenes. Obviously, when you watch it live, you know, you've got 3 different venues down here. You've got the beach, you've got the channel where the surfers, obviously with the lineup, and then you've got the cliff top round the corner where the judges are sat. So, and they're very unique, very different areas, and not all places have got reception. So it's really hard logistically to make sure everything connects up. So, you know, people like Danny are integral to making this happen. We've got Nick Chong helping with the calls. He's always a really good sounding board for me. You know, when I'm trying to make a call, like looking to help with Nick Chong, he's fantastic with swells. And a whole number of other people, all the broadcast teams, Sam Norwood and his Fresher broadcast team, WSL. They're a big support too. So
it's an amazing job that you guys do pulling this thing together. But let's have a look at the lineup, because we have some coloured singlets moving into position. A few late withdrawals, Hendy.
Yes.
And then a few high up the tree replacements. So what can you tell us about why those guys couldn't make it, and who we've got coming up?
Basically, it's the whole month. It's really hard for people to commit for the entire month. Things come up in their schedule, sponsor commitments. Jack Robinson, obviously, we'd love to have him back defending his title, but he's been replaced by 2-time Padang Cup champion Lee Wilson.
Is it out there in red in the first heat?
Who's in the first heat, so it's great to have Lee back in the event. We looked like he wasn't going to be using America the whole month, but he just came back the other day just in the nick of time to take Jack's spot. So. He's an Aussie that grew up in Indonesia. He knows the wave better than anyone. I'd bet on him. You know, if there's anyone that could win it, it's definitely Lee. So he's a great replacement. And then we've got Clay Marzo. Clay Marzo came in, and I think that, you know, he's the people's champ. You know, everyone loves Clay's surfing. I was out surfing with him at Temples yesterday, and he was doing mind-bending stuff in the tube. He's so relaxed.
Oh, well, I think that first appearance he made here a couple of years ago, he was just mind-boggling. Like, he was the favourite all the way through, and just a bit out of rhythm in the final. So hopefully
2016 that was, boys.
That's right.
Yeah. So Clay's going to definitely be a big favourite as well this year. Who else did we have?
What about Kaito Matsuoka out there from Japan? Probably the most. How do you even describe what he did at Pipeline last year? I mean, that was hectic.
He's got a bit of gumption, hasn't he?
He does.
he doesn't mind putting everything on the line, that's for sure. I've watched that clip, I don't know, 50 times, and
So
Every
winner
time
of the
it
wave
gives
of the
me
winter,
chills.
right? That was basically
it,
judged
yeah.
by Dorian and Lopez and
Right.
judged
Yeah.
by Dorian and Lopez and
Right.
Pipeline
Right.
Heavies from Sean Briley, I think, even is judge of that. So, yeah, that's huge. And like for him to then back up that result with a start here, that's a pretty cool thing.
Okay, question, James. So it's someone like, say, Kaito, all right?
Yep.
He's on the sidelines, he's not in, gets a late call up. When you make the call, how stoked is someone when you go, Kaito, guess what? We want you in our event. Tell us that feeling.
Yeah, he was so rapt to join in. Someone like that who's an underground, first of all, to win the wave of the winter, I think, he's obviously been putting a lot of time in at Pipe, but it's a prerequisite of, a surfer here, an invitee. They need to have proved themselves in heavy water, heavy conditions, heavy barrels, and when he got the call up, he was stoked. But yeah, and having to have someone represent Japan as well is epic. Here's Lee on the first wave of the day.
All right. So we have those two replacements in the very first heat. Lee Wilson in red. That's just a bit of a throwaway. But Kaito also in this very first heat up against the Indonesian's Garut Widiata, who won this thing a couple of years ago and was stoked out of his brain to finally get his hands on the Rip Curl Cup. And someone else who I reckon is long overdue, Raditya Rondi, who is got in by the trials, and he hasn't won this thing. It's about the only thing he hasn't won in Indonesia. So that's the makeup of our very first heat.
Yeah, Raditya's definitely up for a win.
Fantastic. Well, beautiful glassy conditions here this morning, lads. And as we said, looking to get this push on the swell and a few big old caves this morning.
There was. That's what gave us the green light to kick it off when we saw Clay get that really good one and followed up with Garut Widiata getting a crazy long one.
Well, we were just talking about Chabal James. He's jumped on the
Here's
very
Chabal.
first wave of the whole event. So did he win the trials? Where did he place in the trials to get into this? Top 4, right?
Top 4, yeah.
Only got to make the finals and you're in.
Yeah. So
anyway, he's in.
Yeah, he's in.
Yeah.
He's in.
He's in, and it's on when it's on. We've started.
Yep.
30-minute heats, obviously, gents. So
That's right.
1 minute into the big show. It's on when it's on. So what is your prediction for the day, James? Are we going to run right through, or do you think there might be a bit of downtime midday, or what's the feeling of the format?
I think there'll definitely be some downtime. We're going to have to break for the high tide, unfortunately. The high tide will kick in. It'll probably fill in by about 10:30 this morning. So we're hoping to get round 1 completed and then go into round 2 this afternoon starting about 3 o'clock.
All right.
So,
and can we finish today if that's the case?
We'd be hard pushed to finish, I think. Hopefully there will still be some waves in the morning. If not, there's a follow-up swell on Wednesday that's got some real power behind it. So we're hoping that if we don't finish in good conditions tomorrow, we'll hold until it's pumping again.
All right. So word on the street, folks. Stick around for at least the first 2 hours today because round 1. The format, everyone surfs twice, yeah? So that's what we're talking about.
Yep, everyone gets a chance. I mean, a lot of the guys, Clay Marzo, for example, he's just arrived yesterday from Hawaii. To get guys to come all this way and surf once is just something that we didn't want to do. We want to give the fans a chance to see these underground amazing tube riders surf at least twice, and that format gives them that opportunity. So they surf twice and then they collect their points, and the best waves, the best 2 scores go through, and that gives us our semi-finals.
Here goes Garut, folks.
Yep, flying off the bottom. There's a high line here, down carve. I love the setup for Padang is just unlike anywhere, isn't it?
Nice wave.
That was really nice. Beautiful tube, bit of a spitting section.
Beautiful.
That doesn't even matter. The fact that he fell off there at the end, turns don't count. He made the tube ride, so that's it. He was the winner back in 2014, and he's been on the Rip Curl team forever and ever in a day. So let's have another look at Garut's opening ride. Often starting, relieves a bit of pressure, mate. At least he got barreled.
Yeah, and I love this high line. Big fade off the bottom, stands on the tail, slows down, a big spitter, and well known for all these high speed sort of off the lip antics, but does know how to get caved as well.
It's great to see waves doing this early. Padang normally doesn't really wake up until the sun's probably on it for some reason. As soon as it gets the sunlight on it, it really starts to come alive. So normally you have that wonky kind of morning sickness with Padang, and it never really starts showing its teeth until mid-morning, like even lunchtime. afternoons are always the best at Padang.
Mate, that's just so Balinese, isn't it? I mean, who does their best work early in the morning? Everybody, have your coffee and your noodles, and you don't even think about stepping foot outside till about 8 in the morning. So
but it's true. We've made calls like this before, where it's kind of borderline in the morning, and we've pulled the trigger because we really needed to, thinking it's going to be good later. And if there's waves in the morning like this, normally means there's going to be fireworks in the afternoon.
Oh, that's good. Good to hear, mate.
Yeah.
Well, how's the footage this year from the top of the tower, folks, for everyone online? That's what James was talking about earlier. That is where the judges sit. It's where the beach marshal is located. It's our sort of go-to start point every morning to check out the site. So we are down positioned on the beach this year. It's a pretty cool setup. First time we've ever sat down here on couches and having a great old time. So heat 1, 5 minutes in. I think James Hendy, it's always been great having a chat with you. You're a pretty busy man, so Vaughan, I think we better release him off the hook.
No worries. Lovely to see you. Have
Good
a great
to see you,
day,
boys.
mate.
Thank
Really
you,
James. Cheers, mate.
All the best. Let's hope for some big pits.
You bring it on. We're going to get Matt George back into the hot seat. 5 minutes in, I imagine Garut's got an early lead. Can't confirm totals just yet, but the two Balinese are off and running with some numbers. Let me see, Garuda 7.50, so they've left plenty of room to still go up there, Vaughan. It's a start, and a 5.17 there for Chabul in the blue. So the Balinese, at this stage, they'll be pretty happy. They've got a number on the board, relieve some nerves. A 7.50, I like that for Garut.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's these guys have surfed here. Maybe Kaito not as much as the other three guys in this heat, but they know that it is sleepy in the morning, and so getting that first score is a good idea. Interesting to note, Lee Wilson did the poster art this year.
Yeah, well, he's an artist, we know that.
Yeah,
and,
he's very, very good artist. And I've loved his work for years, but it was cool when I came down because I was really digging the vibe on it this year, and it's just got such a cool feel, doesn't it?
Man, sitting down here, how's when we first stepped foot onto the beach here this morning, Matt George, and you're just like, whoa, boys, how lucky are we? Look where we're at. It was cool as.
Well, when it comes to luck, I'll tell you something else. Raditya Randi, he last year just had a shocker of a heat in the trials because Raditya is such a great competitor that we expect him to get through the trials. And this year, it was almost preordained. He won very, very easily. He won going away. And we almost knew that was going to happen. It was a race for the other spots with the other guys. But Raditya, in this heat, he is really looking to get that 10 points. He needs that. He really wants it this time.
Yep. Okay, so what Matt's talking about, ladies and gentlemen, you win your heat, all right? So it's not based on your two scores. If you win the heat, you get 10 points for the leaders board. If you get second, you get 7 points, 4 points for a third, 1 point for a fourth. We do that twice. Out of the 16, based on those numbers, your two results and the scores you get from where you place, give us our final 8, and that becomes our semi-finals. From there, it's a straight regular shootout, but in the first 2 rounds, you're surfing for points, basically.
Looks like Lee Wilson jostling for this one, and he will take off. We've only seen him really get a small one at the start of this heat, and now he pulls the high line and just gets shut down.
Very uncharacteristic of Lee. I mean, he's obviously one of my favorite surfers out here, and I've been able to watch him win this contest twice on his backside. He's sort of our Indonesian Chris Ward or our Indonesian Jack Robinson. One of those backside surfers that can really come from behind, and really make impossible sections.
Well, didn't go to script that time for Lee, but plenty of time to bounce back. So he was our fourth winner, eventually in 2011. He won it again. Let me see.
It was 2006 he won it, and he actually won it Mark, he actually won it down the beach here at Bingen. We had to move down to Bingen in 2006, which is a slightly more mild wave, but still takes a lot of technical ability on the backside.
Over my best friend, Joey Barrell.
Of course.
All right, from Lakey. I'm sure the Lakey boys are watching if you are, fellas. Keep it real, keep it locked on, because as James Hendy confirmed, we're probably going to bowl out this first 4 heats, round 1, 2 hours of high action. And at this stage, it's Garut 7.50 that's stacking up as still the best start.
Here goes Lee again, picking something off on the inside, finds some tube time. This is grinding. And again, pinched.
Well,
you know what the bane of this wave is that shoulder. It looks so inviting after you come out of that second barrel, but it really flattens out. Now, we already saw, Kato, where he tried to do this big cutback or something. You want to look good. Now, watch in the next heat with Madeyati Putra. Watch how he handles that shoulder. You want to do the Jerry Lopez kick out. Don't get too cocky, you know.
Well, it's a tube contest, mate. Turns, forget about it.
Yeah. And having a bit of style on your tube entries and exits and all that sort of stuff, I mean, it's going to work for you here, right?
Well, I think that raises a really good point. I think that this wave is such a great sculpture that you know, we don't really want surfers that go out there and just start chopping wood. We want surfers that want to go out there and match the beauty of that sculpture. So they're not there just, you know, trying to make firewood. They're out there trying to make magic.
It's funny, like when you're a kid and you're growing up and you're first buying surf mags, they don't do it anymore, of course, but you know, back in our day.
Speak for yourself.
Well, it was just such an iconically recognisable wave, Padang. Like you just never. You see that lime green and you'd see that big, thick end section bowl, and it was just a wave that captured your imagination right from the word go. What are your experiences of the wave, you know, when you first got to come here and do that magic walk down the cliff and through the cave and come down onto the beach and paddle out?
Well, for me, Vaughan, you know, I haven't surfed the Book a lot in years because it's a whole different scene these days. As you know, it's super busy. But, you know, when you saw, McCabe, all right, one of the first guys, you know, Boule guys you sort of saw surfing this wave, and those sort of guys that really set the imagination on fire, and you've gone, I'm going to Bali, boy, oh boy, am I going to surf Padang? Of course I am. I want to walk down that cave. We did it again this morning. You know, you get chicken skin the first time you come down here and do that. You step onto the beach, you still get chicken skin this morning, and you paddle out, and you're just like, I'm actually doing this. I'm surfing this wave. And even in the modern era today, there's people that come here just to do that. They want to get their photo. They want a piece of it once in their life. And it's that sort of place where you've got a ticket off your list.
Well, I think another thing that's really important to realize that the actual word Padang means a field of play. It comes from the Malaysian language, and it's been adapted by the Balinese. And so here we are at the ultimate playing field in our sport, certainly one of the ultimates. I mean, absolutely recognizable, Vaughn. I mean, we know a pipeline wave, we know a J-Bay wave, the Great Bells Beach, and Padang.
Of course.
This is it.
It sits up there, doesn't it? 19 minutes remaining in this heat. Heat number 1, the Rip Curl Cup. 16 years, lads.
Wow.
Yep. It's a long-running event, and I just love that we do have events to just focus and hone in on just that one thing, that one element.
Well,
you know, get in the pit.
Tube rides never go out of fashion.
Well, it reminds me of you at Karamas just recently when you were doing the air show, and it was all about aerials, and you got surfers to go out there and, you know, perform that one, you know, quantum leap sort of, if you pardon the pun, the quantum leap aerial. And this is the same sort of thing. How deep can you go? Who understands this wave? You got to remember, there's 2 barrels on this thing. You don't want to waste that outside barrel. Jack Robinson was masterful on this wave. And for someone who does not have that much experience on this wave, it was a masterful display of controlling this very rather technical wave to ride, Vaughn.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's no surprise that pipe specialists do really well here. Because Pipeline, you know, you hear people talk about perfect waves all the time. Pipeline's always throwing a challenge at you with every single wave you catch out there. It's never sort of doing the same thing twice. And I think Padang has that a little bit too. You know, you've got to be able to get the read. Every single swell has its own little idiosyncrasies that you've got to master. And it's just, you know, the Jamie O'Briens, the Jack Robbos, the Clay Mars, all those guys who know how to just thread the needle, just have a good relationship with this wave straight off the bat.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's someone sitting here that knows this wave very well, Lorca Louris. And Lorca, we'd like to bring you in so you can talk about this wave, because he is one of the long-time locals here. Of course, he's one of the greatest big wave riders here on this island and also in Hawaii. His father is one of the great archivists of Indonesian surfing art. And, of course, Lorca is one of the great journalists that we have here in Indonesia. We'd like to bring him aboard. Lorca, come on.
Vaughan, can't Matt George do the best pump up in the world?
Goodness.
Hey, Lorca, you got a bit to live up to as Matt steps out. We're going to welcome Lorca Louris into the booth. Lorca, your thoughts on the event and the day, and particularly, let's talk about the wave. How important is this wave, Padang Padang?
Well, it is the premier break on Bali, and it's known as the Balinese pipeline. And like you were saying, Vaughn, it is like pipeline, but it's a easier wave to surf because the drop is so easy to get into the wave. It's like when you take off at pipe, Most people can't even make that drop. But here, it kind of gives you a little roll in, and then you can set it up for the barrel. It's part of the mechanical perfection Indonesia is famous for. And Padang is a perfect example of that kind of wave.
And Matt George touched on a good thing. It's 2 tubes. Occasionally you see someone take off and get that, like a la Jack Robinson last year, that first tube before the Super Bowl, basically. A tube, drop down, set it up, and then you get the real grunty, meaty part of the wave. For you, is that a big deal? Do you reckon the judges buy into that first little tube as well, or is it all about the Super Bowl, the second section?
I think the first tube, it's sort of more of a bonus barrel section, because the whole story is all about that inside bowl. But yeah, I think they definitely score you higher if you do get that bonus first bit, especially some guys like Jack Robinson last year was getting covered up for several seconds and then coming in and setting it up for the inside wedge and getting super thick barrels through there.
Here we go. It looks like Lee Wilson off the bottom here, just hoping this thing gives him some vision. It does. A little cave, he just sort of ducks his head, and again, he's just having a tricky time finding waves that are going to open up. What do you make of these conditions this morning, Lorca, and how do you think it will play out through the day?
Well, it's the first signs of that new swell, and it starts off, I call it a Hawaiian 4 to 5 feet, but it's, 2 to 3 feet overhead. Lee Wilson here setting it up. He needs to put a score on the board because he's got a couple of 1s. And being a tube riding event, you're going to see a lot of that. You're either going to get 2s or 9s.
Yeah, it's a fine line, isn't it? I remember there was a year when Rye Craik was in the event, and he's like, right, Clifty, in my head, what do you reckon if I do like a finner and then kind of set up? Forget the finner, right? Forget about the finner, mate, because it might put you off kilt for the inside bowl. You've just got eyes on the bowl and just set that up perfectly. You don't want to hit it too late and perhaps miss a bit of tube time. So leave your finners for your other surfs. It's all about getting tubed out.
One thing I was sort of having a bit of a chuckle with Matt Wilkinson last night on the plane over, there's not a lot of time to get any practice waves in. When they call it on, it's like everyone flies in from all over the place, and 1 minute you're sitting on a plane, next minute you've got a rashy on, you're paddling out for your heat.
Yeah, well, I mean, what is it? It's 7:30 in the morning, so there was very little practice time this morning.
But even when you do get some practice time, getting waves out here can be a bit of a drama on a really good swell, Lorca.
It's so crowded. I actually just surfed out here last month on that huge swell at the end of June. Surfed Uluwatu the first day, and it was probably some of the biggest, most perfect ulus we've seen in a long time. And then I figured, I'll try a Padang the next day. It was absolutely firing because that first big day, the trials was on. And, man, every single person and his dog was out here. Every surfing personality, it was so difficult to get a wave. I still managed to nab a few, and I was stoked for the day, but, man, it was like
dog eat dog.
Dog eat dog out there. Dog eat dog eat dog.
So what sort of numbers are we talking on a pumping day at Padang?
As in
how
size?
Many crew? How many crew? No, how many people?
Oh, easily 30. It's not so many
double that, wouldn't
the
it?
Numbers, but it's more who is out.
The caliber.
Yeah, because when those sets start coming through, it's like almost every set wave is spoken for before it even breaks, and everyone's taking their turns, and every now and then, though, you get tossed a bone or even nab a good set, and it just makes your whole day, even your whole month.
You only need one, don't you?
Yeah.
Like any wave, any good spot in the world, you get one that can light you up for a long time.
Yeah, especially this spot. There's not many places on the island that throw a barrel this big. In fact, this is the only spot. Well, I would say Uluwatu, there are places that break bigger, because here it kind of maxes out at that 6 to 8 foot range with double, about triple overhead. But for the size, the mechanical precision of these waves is unmatched. I mean,
Can you tell us a little bit, mate, about the reef out there? Is it sharp? Like, give people at home sort of a sense of what happens if you blow it.
It is super sharp, and what makes the wave so perfect and barrely and hollow is that it's really shallow. If you're going to fall anywhere on this wave, you kind of want to fall on the outside, more on the takeoff, because there's a lot of water under there. But once you start getting to that inside barrel section,
you can see it.
You can start drying up on you. There's an inside reef ledge that on the low tide it'll start going dry, especially on the full moon and new moon lows. And that's where it gets really dangerous, because if you take the first wave of the set and for some reason you don't make it, you get washed onto that shelf. You'll get dry docked and then pounded by those 6 to 8 foot sets after it.
Looks like we have a bit of movement here from our Japanese competitor, Kaito. Here he goes.
Okay, he said he's from a beach town just outside of Tokyo, and he looks really comfortable in the barrel here. There you go, putting a score on the board. Oh, going for that second bit. That might be a make, though. He did right out of it.
That's a Mon King. It's a maybe. It was his first wave. Geez, he waited a long time for that thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's so cool to see Kaito in this event. The wave heard around the world last year. Obviously, the wave of the winter was just so psycho. I still can't quite get my head around what he managed to pull off on that thing. Check it out online if you get the chance. But getting a little score on the board there, just a 1.5 under his belt so far.
All right, so it's still the 7.50 of Garut that's stacking up. One single wave's got him the lead at this point. He got it early in the piece. He's held on to the lead for some time. And as Matt was saying, you know, things in Bali, they're a little sleepy in the morning. The ocean's still yet to show its real best stuff. Here's the action replay of Kaito's opening ride. 18.5 minutes waiting for this thing. I think the little fall off at the end is probably going to cost him. Like, it was a little mini tube anyway. It wouldn't have been a maxi score, but I don't know whether he's going to get any credit as an actual make for that reason. We'll see when the number drops through. I don't think it's going to be that high. A 3.33, I think it was. So, in fact, his second wave puts him in a third, which could be important at the end of the day because you're getting your points for your heat placing. Obviously, a third is better than a fourth. Second is a whole lot better than that, and the heat win's what it's all about. 10 points for the heat win. And for the crew online, just quickly, Heat 2 this morning is going to feature Mason Ho, Mega Samadhi, Benji Brand, and Argus Sumatayasa. All right, Heat 3, Matt Wilkinson, Made Bol Adiputra, Clay Marza, the surfer we've been talking a fair bit about. Coco Hendrawan, watch out for him. He's an underground charger here at Padang. Heat 4, Nathan Florence, Argus Setiawan, Sheldon Pyshon, and Mustafa Jackson completes our lineup this morning of round 1.
Yeah, it's an epic field. Lorca, who are you looking forward to seeing out here as the waves start to, you know, pick up and throw down the extra challenge through the day?
Well, I always love seeing Mason host surf because he's so unpredictable and he's got that unreal Hawaiian style. But right here, two of my favorite surfers, three of them actually, Lee Wilson and Raditya and Garud. I mean, this is an action-packed heat right here. This could be a final.
Balinese royalty right there, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Raditya in blue, he's like the 4-time Asian surfing champion. He's a contest machine. Lee Wilson, you already touched on it. He's won this event twice, and he did the artwork for this event, but he's also the 2-time Indonesian pro champion. And his father actually started Rip Curl in Indonesia way back in the day.
Oh, wow, that's
Robert.
insane.
Yeah.
And so how much does it burn in the Indonesian psyche to want to win this comp if you've grown up surfing, you won, because all the boys compete against each other pretty consistently throughout the year, right?
Definitely.
It must be the best to come here and take out Padang, because I mean, you look at the previous list of winners, and it's guys who we all know. They have worldwide reputations.
Well, on that one, mate, I'll tell you one time we were having an interview with Lee Wilson, and we were talking about that. I said, Lee, you know, you've won this thing twice. You know, tell us about it. With the first time he won at Bingen when he beat Joey for the title, he said when I won that day, he said I cried. He said it meant that much to me that he just wept tears of, you know, relief, joy, whatever you want to call it. But that's what it meant to him, and he was happy to tell us that live on the World Web. And that's it. It's just a big deal. What about when Mega Samadhi won here that year, his first year when he won, you know, and his mum and that down here? That was just...
She sang the national anthem. She
was
so
awesome.
proud of him.
I remember that.
He won it for the local team over here. I think the only thing more prestigious than winning this is if you won the Corona Bali Protected. I mean, other than that, this is the top of the mountain right here.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Looks
Specialty event.
A paddle here, surfer in blue.
So Chabul.
And this is Raditya. Let's see what he can do. Flying along. Got a good size wave here. Off the bottom. Sets it up. Is he going to find the tube? He does. Into the pit he goes and gets some nice tube time through the outside. And then he...
See, they'll consider that a make, surely.
Oh, yeah. Well, he caught a little bit of toe side rail coming out and did the old lobby dive. But that was a nice long tube there.
Yeah, he goes to first with that number for sure. So the first surfer to get 2 substantial scores. I can't wait to see where it fits. Got a little fluffy there on him at the end, but there was plenty of time behind the curtain, mate. And he'll be relieved to get that number because time's ticking away. 6-7 minutes now remaining.
All right, well, got a special a guest coming on the broadcast. Let's cross over to Mel, who is sitting with Mason Ho.
Keep it on.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Hawaiian surfer Mason Ho. He missed out on last year's Padang Cup, but he's here with a vengeance. Mason, how do the waves look today?
The waves look nice. There's a lot of good waves coming in when they come through.
Mason's pretty well known for his skills in these waves. Look, there's another set now. Mason, talk us through it.
Okay, here we got a big old set right here at Padang, one of our favorite places. Okay, we got White right here. Oh, is that Garut? Oh, of course he's on. This is the biggest set so far. Big barrel. There's 10 more big sets. I don't know what else to say.
Perfect.
Thanks, man.
They would have cut so good.
Oh, good, perfect. Oh my God. There's no way they're hearing this shit this early. That was sick.
Oh my God, it's pumping.
So there you have it, a quick chat with Mason O, who sounds pretty excited already by what he's seeing out there. Now it feels a little bit, boys, like the trigger has been pulled. That was the best set of the morning. And Garut getting a sick one.
Did you get it? Are you still going?
Looks like Lee Wilson may have caught a pretty damn good one behind it as well.
It looks like it's going to be Lee's first real score
If
on the board.
nothing else. If nothing else,
Garut
visuals
too,
were
though. He caught a
sick.
great second wave there. We're gonna get some
Sorry to
replay.
put you in the spot.
Like I said, it's easier on the spot.
All right, so some action replays coming at us. It'll be interesting to see where these numbers drop, because I reckon Garut for sure goes back to first once this number comes in. Pretty cool having the access to the live water interviews. How's that?
Oh, I love it. Nothing better than having Mason Ho calling waves as well. Here goes Lee. Oh, beautiful line into that one.
Yeah.
Got that end bowl that you were talking about, Lorca.
Yeah, that was just a quick in and outer right there. He's trying to put a score on the board, but Garut, he's got the eye of the tiger. As you can see, he's picked off the two best waves of the whole morning. I mean, it's just a first heat, of course. Anything can happen, but his wave knowledge out here is impeccable. Look at that first score, 7.5 on that spitter he pulled.
He's going to have another number that's pretty
That was a
close to
legit
that as
Padang
well.
wave right there. And
So
the second one,
Chabul's second number dropped in at a 5.77 for that little fluffy thing. So Garut will have the two best scores once that second one comes through. He's had the bigger, throatier waves, and the judges will appreciate that for sure.
I love that line off the bottom, really slow. I mean, how hard is it not to sort of just want to race when you're on that wave?
yeah, you got to kind of pace yourself. You got to slow it down a bit because you can outrun that barrel. Like you'll see the best guys, they'll really fade out their bottom turns and just hook it, just stall it, kick stall right under the bowl. And sometimes it's just a quick barrel, but it's the thickest, meatiest barrel around. And yeah, you got to really time it out here. But some of them race off on you. Sometimes you take off, and that day after the trials, a lot of the waves were really peeling off and going really fast, breaking wide, and some of them do that as well. So you've really got to study the conditions and see how it's breaking.
Yeah, because a really good point. You've got to get that burn-off speed thing good enough, but then you've got to regain it pretty quick, and you've got to throw yourself that deep. You've got to be basically on the foam ball to maximise that whole Super Bowl section. And if you don't get your little kick stall right, or you don't come around with enough sort of burn-off time to park yourself perfectly, it'll come down to this at the end of the day. If you don't do that good enough and maximise that time, the judges know that. And that will split our 8s, our 9s, or our 10s come the semi-finals and beyond.
The time ticking away here, 2 minutes 40 remaining. First heat of the morning, and a good set firing. Good signs at this stage of the day, Lorca.
Great signs. It seems like it's built even since the Dawn Patrol check. We're all here in the dark watching it. Contest directors, pro surfers, Rip Curl crew, everyone, and just trying to get a sign of what that swell was doing, and it was already solid overhead, and the contest director James Hendy said it's a go, and it's a good call. We're on.
Well, we normally start in the dark, and this thing's finished in the dark a number of times too, hasn't it, Vaughn? Standing on that stage doing your prezzo, and it's almost pitch black.
Oh, mate, it's an awesome scene. I mean, this little beach in particular is just beautiful, isn't it, down here? It's such a hidden little enclave of just power and history, and you come down here and usually, towards the afternoon, it's just a buzzing scene too.
It is. It's a crazy little beach. It's, you know, pounds per square bit of sand. There's not much more action on any beach that goes on because it ain't a big beach.
That's a good point.
It's a cosy little tucked away corner, mate, and everybody loves to come down here on their Bali experience and have a piece of this.
Well, I haven't seen any monkeys around this morning. When did they start coming out? Last
they're
year
a bit sleepy in the mornings too, mate.
So they get cranky at you.
I think it's a little bit too busy for them. I think they like the nice quiet villas that leave fruit and sunglasses out. Those are the ones they sneak into and buffet on the fruit. Here we go. Live action at Padang.
Looks like Lee Wilson again, somewhere. A little technical hitch in our vision, but he's in the tube, no doubt. Got to come out to make it count. So Garut, that surprises me, a 4.57. Maybe that wasn't the live wave we saw earlier because that big throaty thing was worth more than that. So that must have been his backup score. A 4.57 slows Garut in first. His good mate and cousin, I believe. Is that right? Chabul?
Yeah,
second.
they're all part of a big surfing family out of Kuta. And there's more talent in that family than, I don't know, there might be one of the biggest surfing families around that has that many pro surfers.
And this is
But we'll give you an update. We're having some problems with our vision here.
a small replay of Lee Wilson. A pretty inconsequential wave there. Time ticking away. Heat number 1, round 1 of the Rip Curl Cup. It is on and a little slow so far, but we have seen good signs. There's been a couple of big sets, and you can see there that Garut's sitting on a 7.5, which was a
happened pretty early in the heat.
Nice juicy hit on that classic bowl that everyone's talking about. It looks like Kaito's going to have a shot at this one. And just hanging back, looking for the pit. It looks like he's found a good little cover up, but that one just runs off on him, like you said, Mark.
Well, that heat's done and dusted. So once Kaito's number drops, does he move up a spot? It's all important for your leaderboard points. At this stage, it's definitely Garut. We're going to pencil him into a first position. His good mate, Radidia Rondi, will finish in second, third and fourth. Not entirely sure about just yet until Kaito's last score drops. Did he overtake Lee Wilson for third? Not too sure. We'll have to get back to that. But 10 points in the bank there for Garut on the leaderboard. 7 points for Radidia Rondi. They'll be happy with their morning's work, mate, because you get 2 shots at becoming one of the 8 semi-finalists, and they've just put a pretty good foot forward there from those 2.
Great performance by Garut. We'll have a quick break and be back with more in a minute from the Rip Curl Cup. Padang, Padang.
I love how easily the Search GPS 2 fits underneath my wetsuit or wetsuit top.
Rip curl. Don't want to get up to check the surf? You don't have to.
With the new GPS 2, you can check the tides and the conditions anytime. Brought straight to your watch from Rip Curl's partners at Surfline.
Rip curl.
Puggy. Welcome everybody back to the Rip Curl Cup. Padang. It is on and we are excited. You saw the man just there, the man who loves to ride rocks, chuck his board on him, chuck his body on him. He's got a mad love affair for rocks, old Mason Ho, and he's out there right now in the red up against Mega Samadhi in the white, Benji Brand in the yellow, and Agus Sumatayasa.
You know, just earlier, Vaughn, just a few seconds ago, I was talking to Matt Wilkinson, and talk about focus, man. He was up there on the cliff, and he is just watching like an eagle, and I tried to have a conversation with him, but, man, I tell you what, he wants this.
He does.
He wants it,
He does.
And you know, he's been a larrikin in his career. You know, he's been sort of the good time guy, and also Mason. But don't make any mistake. You know, these clown princes that we have, they take their professional surfing very seriously.
Oh, mate, big time. And I think, you know, when you've only got 16 guys in the draw and every single one of them wants it so bad, you know you can't just turn up and joke around. You've got to turn up with your game face on, ready to charge. I know that Mason in particular, he is in love with this wave. Like, not many people really connect with Indonesia the way that Mason Ho does as a visitor. He is just so tapped into the swells, the way they hit the reefs. When I've been on trips with him in the past, if he sees anything hitting Indo, he starts to like getting antsy and sort of running around the house, and he wants to like change flights and get straight here. He just absolutely loves the place. And we actually have a search premiere, I think, of a film we made with some of his recent adventures around here. And so he's been here for a while this year. He's in tune. Could this be the year?
Well, that premiere is this Friday at the Big Rip Curl Party, which is the party of the year here in Bali. And I understand you were producing that film, actually. What's it called?
I directed it.
Well, tell us about it.
Red Monkey Full Moon. It's Mick and Mason on one of their search adventures, but instead of going to the far reaches, they sort of decide to revisit a few places, and it's almost a search back in time.
Oh,
because
fantastic.
They are dead set visiting a couple of icons. I'm not going to say where, but you wait. Some amazing stuff. But Mason out there right now, he'll be looking to get his campaign in the Rip Curl Cup going. Who else is in this heat, Lorca, who you're looking forward to seeing?
Well, of course, I want to see Mega rip it up. On any given day, he's probably one of the smallest guys out there, but he charges like a giant. I mean, he picks off any set wave that he wants. Everyone knows. They're like, oh, Mega's paddling. Okay, he's on. He's going. And he just gets so piped on every wave. He knows exactly which one to pick, and he's won this event twice. And
how mad do the boys go if Mega gets up? Like the local crew.
Oh, they're all backing him. I mean, you'll hear cheers from the beach. You know, people in the warung stamping their feet. Like they love it.
Well, see, that's the special thing about Mega. You know that Lorca and I know. There's no surfer on Earth that lives closer to this break. He lives right there on the cliff, and he's also. We're very proud of Mega. Lorca, I think you'll agree with me because he's such an environmentalist for this area. He's actually an activist of keeping this area absolutely clean and spotless. And I will say that Padang, we're very proud of this beach because you could pretty much say this is the cleanest beach on the island of Bali, and it's mostly because of Mega's efforts.
That's huge. It's great to see that, you know, we're starting to get a bit of a clue when it comes to Bali. We're starting to understand that we need to keep this place pristine because we've been here for a long, long time now, and it has copped a fair hiding in terms of rubbish and plastics and all that sort of thing, but we're starting to get there, Lorca.
Well, the local government decreed that we're going to ban plastic bags in Bali since the start of the year, and if you haven't noticed, when you start going to shops, a lot of them don't even supply a plastic bag. They don't even offer to give you one. You have to like walk out either with your goods in your hand or bring your own bag.
Okay, well, that's great news as we see a little bit of movement here. And here we are. Was that Mega?
That was Mega in white. Just a little warm-up wave. Looks like he got caught behind.
I'll tell you an interesting surfer that's in this heat. I believe he's in motion now. Let's see if he wants this. Yes, he does. This is Benji Brand. Benji is actually from South Africa, and he's a big-time Hawaiian hero, particularly at Pipeline, because he spends so much time there. But what I love about Benji is that he's barely sponsored. He works real hard. He takes his own money, and he travels around the world. Now, one of the things he's most famous for is for West Africa. He's found himself in Angola, in some of the heaviest, most politically disruptive places on Earth, and he has found, it's rumored, that he's found another Skeleton Bay in Angola, and he says it's longer. Now, for a winner of the GoPro Tube of the Year, Benji Brand, at Skeleton Bay, for him to say that this Angolan wave is longer and hollower, it frightens me.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen probably the best tube rides ever go down on that. Well, definitely the longest and some of the drainiest. Looks like a very challenging wave. Here's Mega's wave. Just gets the big up and over.
That's Benji there,
and
he's going to go for it here. He hasn't got a lot of experience out here, but he's got a lot of courage, and that goes a long way in this neighborhood.
Okay, so Mega Samadhi there again. Just looking. If he's sniffing around on the inside, what does that tell you, Lorca?
It means he's looking to put some scores on the board. When Chris Ward won the event, it was kind of slow through a lot of heats, and he won a bunch of his heats by surfing these inside 3-footers and getting little barrels and just posting these 3s and 4s and 5s on the board when other guys were just getting skunked. So it's pretty smart, especially because he's probably reading it as kind of slow, and he definitely has last priority. We are using the priority system since he took the first wave of that heat. So he's just trying to put some scores on the board there.
Yeah. I think if I was out there, I'd just be chasing him around and doing whatever he's doing, right?
Well, you'll notice that first wave, of course, Mega, the ultimate local, 2-time winner of this event, was really, really deep. And I think he first wanted to intimidate everybody else in the heat, going, look, man, I own this place. But he took off too deep and had to do that bailout. But he made his point. He let these, international surfers, the famous Mason Ho, Benji Brand, he let these guys know, look, I'm the king out here. I've won this twice, so please, I'm going to paddle deeper. But I think he paid for that. And I think Lorca's right. I think we're going to see him start picking off some nice little ones, a little more on the inside. The Chris Ward syndrome, so to speak, Lorca.
Yeah, it's a smart tactic because if you've got last priority, there's only going to be 2, maybe 3 waves in the set. So chances are pretty slim that you're going to nab one because these guys are all waiting to pounce on the outside. Inside wave, it's still got a bit of wobble on the lineup. It's still, the winds are offshore, but the true trade winds haven't really picked up yet. So it's still got a bit of a wobble on the face. It is clean though, it is glassy. But as the day progresses and the winds pick up, those dry season trade winds, it's going to groom these waves a lot nicer when you get those true southeast trade winds starting to blow.
Well, speaking of grooming the waves, we've got one of the great winners of the Padang Cup. He's going to come on board here. Garut Widiarta, why don't you come on up and we'll have a word with him.
Okay, welcome into the booth and congratulations on your heat win this morning. Good.
All right.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Tell us, mate, what's it like out there? Because it is a little bit slow at the moment, but you found a couple of nice drainers.
It's just, earlier I paddled out there really early, like 6 o'clock. It's still kind of dark. And the wave just keep coming. And as soon the heat start, and it's a bit slower. But I find myself just sitting in the right spot, and I got one first wave, good one. So
just having a look at Mason Ho here, just doing that classic front arm grab.
My God!
Oh wow, that was absolutely sick. A mental wave from Mason. Do you like what you're seeing here this morning in terms of the swell building and coming in, and the guys getting a few barrels?
Yeah, it's pretty stoked with this. But early morning here, sometimes like the sun's too bright, cannot see anything. Because I got one and I got spit out inside. It's kind of blind inside, so I just keep going.
Oh wow, yeah, I didn't think of that. The actual light coming into your eyes first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Tell us about the wave you got. Your 7.5. How does it rate in terms of what you think we'll see for the rest of the day?
I think it's gonna get better as soon the tide's pushing in. It's looks like it's gonna be more wave and more waves. It's gonna be solid for this calm today, I think.
And I noticed you've got your Rip Curl Dawn Patrol wetsuit vest on. How's the water temperature? Because it has been cold lately, yeah.
Yeah, it's been cold lately, and look at that. Is that Mason?
Yeah, take us through this replay, mate, because this is a sick one. Look at that style, leaning heavily onto the front foot.
You know, Mason. He's one of the king of pipeline. So
Big time. Looks like
Yeah.
he's riding something a little longer. I'll have to get the details on that.
Which mayhem is he riding? But yeah, I love how he transitioned from the front hand grab to the regular grab and comes out high and clean.
Sick.
That's awesome. Mate, you're a former winner here. What would it mean to you to have another good result, a big win here at the Rip Curl Cup?
It just mean a lot, mean a lot because last year I didn't do pretty good, because there was not so much weight I think last year in my heat. So first early morning, got a good score. It's pretty happy with that.
Fantastic.
And, yeah, can't wait to keep going.
Awesome, mate.
Okay.
Yeah. Mason Ho just waiting on the score to drop in. There it is, 6.5. So I think the judges may be looking and expecting to see.
Is that 6.5? All right.
Well, you pretty much set the tempo for the morning, Garrett, with that first barrel, because that was a sick one. That was a legit Padang wave with the full spit out and everything.
Yeah.
And
Thanks.
that was probably the best wave that's come through so far that I've
Yeah.
seen. So of course the judges, they know that the swell's gonna keep rising through the day. It should be getting better.
Yeah.
But you pretty much set the judging scale with that wave.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say to your audience out there? Do you want to say anything in Bahasa?
Terima kasih semua. Jangan lupa tonton di live for the Padang Cup, and yeah, thanks for watching.
Awesome, got it. Well, thanks again for coming in, and 10 points going towards your total, which will do very well to put you in a good position. Hopefully see you in the semi-finals later on, but heat number 2 coming up maybe after the tide change, right?
We'll see. If it's pumping, they should just run, yeah.
All right, well, if we can push through the tide, even better. So thank you for joining us, Garut. Best of luck, and we'll see you soon.
All right.
As we see 21 minutes, 40 seconds remaining. And I think we're going to go... Yep, we are going to cross the mill out in the channel, who has an interview with Burger. You beauty.
Hi guys, we're here in the channel right now with Burger. He is Mason Ho's caddy and longtime friend. Burger, tell us about Mason's 6.5 that he just scored. What did you think about his backhand?
Sorry, I shouldn't start off like that, but it was entertaining. Nothing new, yeah, the front rail grab, how he gets. Entertaining. Nothing new. The guys in the event having a really hard time talking to this beautiful girl. You know what I mean? When you come to Bali, there's beautiful waves, beautiful women, great food. But yeah, Mason's wave was amazing. It was really entertaining, but it's not over yet. It's only the first round, so let's not get too cocky and happy because... Oh, we're missing a wave? No, it's flat. But, yeah, we gotta just... Oh, the reverse grab?
Yeah, James Hendy here, head of Rip Curl. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that reverse grab? That looked pretty impressive to us.
I was amazed by it. I thought that was super technical, one of the most technical barrels I've seen out here. Came off the bottom holding his rail reverse. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, we were all pretty impressed with that. Here comes the set. We'll take it back to you guys now. White's into it. Mega Samadhi, here he goes. Coming off the bottom, setting up. And he's in. Holding the line and out. Holding the line and out. Nice work.
Yeah,
well,
Yeah.
okay. I'll tell you something
Tell
interesting
me.
about Mega. You really know Mega's serious, where he takes his leading arm, his right arm, and he swings his hand back to his chest and leads with his elbow, because that's when he's really digging into the wave and really stalling himself down. You'll see it here. Watch. Okay, so he's in just the right position. He's setting himself up here, and he knows how to do. Now watch his front elbow here when he tucks that hand, and he'll do it even more here. See that? So this is a technique that really allows, it's a stalling maneuver that allows him to stay in the wave, as long as he possibly can. So yeah, whenever Mega leads with his elbow, you know things are going to get real crazy.
That's an epic technique. A couple of interesting stalling techniques there from Mason Ho and Mega Samadhi in this one. Mason's actually been thinking long and hard about those different grabs before he goes into the tube, because he spends so much time at waves like Desert Point where you get to really explore what's possible. And because he's got such a great imagination, he's always just thinking, how can I slow down in different ways and create more fun for myself while I'm surfing?
Well, it's funny you should mention that. I mean, he's certainly one of the most creative surfers we've ever seen here. You'll probably see it later in the day on a big wave. He'll S-turn straight down to the bottom where most people are running for their lives. And then he'll do like this sort of switch foot, strange, stall bottom turn, I guess you'd call it, and then that grab. And it's just creative. Now, as much as he has a reputation for being, Mr. Fun and having a great time, you got to understand, he takes his mentoring very, very serious. He's mentoring right now Sheldon Paishon, who's in this heat, a young surfer that he found on the west side over near Makaha. And, of course, Mason coming from the royal family of Hawaii, At any rate, let's go to a commercial break and come back with the action.
The Search GPS 2 doesn't just track surfing.
From swim to snow and run to ride, you can view live speeds and record all of your activities.
Ripcraft.
How long do you reckon you got barrel for?
Realistically?
Jesus.
Rip curl.
Welcome back, folks. Thanks for tuning in. This is the Rip Curl Cup at Padang, Padang on the beautiful, the only island of Bali in Indonesia. And I say the only because it's one of the most magical places on earth. I'm sitting here, Vaughan Blakey, Lorca, Matt George, good to see you guys. And we have a heat in the water, and it looks like Benji Brand during the break has found a little nug. I'm looking forward to seeing that on the replay. Mega Samadhi in the white out there in second. Mason Ho in the red in third. And here it is, Benji Brand. Now, Matt, you were just telling us about this kid. He's found a little gem.
Wow.
Look at that. So much tube time. Nice little thick ledge on the inside reef. straight out into the dead water, but a good score there.
And a very rare roundhouse cutback on a shoulder that is the bane of this wave, really. The style, I really loved his style. You can see how tuned he is after his Skeleton Bay adventures in Namibia, and of course his Angolan big secret that I'm going to try to get out of him here at some point.
Good luck.
But yeah, right.
Good luck, man.
But Benji,
if it's not a right, I'm not interested.
Yeah, same. Can we get a few more long
fantastic. And when it comes to being inside the tube, Lorca, why don't you tell us about this the GoPro competition that's going on with these competitors?
Well, all 16 of the competitors have been given a GoPro Hero 7, and whoever nabs the best clip on this month of July is going to win a cash prize. There's two categories. There's best clip and best photo. And they're also encouraged, if they're willing to, film during the event. So anywhere that they're surfing, if they nab that clip, GoPro is going to reward them with a cash prize.
And it's going to be handed out this Friday at the Big Rip Curl Contest, the party of the year, where we're also going to see the premiere of our lead broadcaster's movie, his directorial debut, Red Monkey
Full Moon.
Red Monkey Full Moon. Can't wait to see it. Tell us a little about it.
Oh, well, not much to tell, really. It's just hanging out with Mick and Mason and trying to get inside their heads a little bit, see what makes them tick, as well as, creating some good clips out of the surfing that they do. Here's Benji Brand with a nice one on the inside. It's really cool, though. It's a really cool movie.
Well, if it's
not a debut, though. I've made a few.
Oh, sorry, man.
Sorry, man. You too.
So yeah,
you too.
I've made a few movies myself. But the thing is, that trailer is so exciting. I love those moments you captured. That breathless moment when surfers are looking out to sea and they don't even know what to say. They're silent. And we just saw that on that last set. You'll see here at Padang Padang when that big set comes in and someone takes off, you can hear a pin drop on the beach, and then as soon as someone gets in the barrel, they go absolutely nuts. So the same sort of moment that you captured. Looks like a wave approaching here, Lorca.
And it looks like Mason's going to go for it. Nobody had a look. He only had second priority. But it's a medium-sized wave. He just kick-stalls it, trying to get in the barrel. We're talking about that timing, and sometimes if he had gone any faster, he would have outraced that wave. But the thing about Padang is that you might get into that perfect barrel, but what happens is it tends to clip shut on that end bit. So you really have to take a high line. Sometimes that high line doesn't even work. You get shut down on. But White, Mega Samadhi, knows exactly which one. Here it goes, starting to go high, and it stays open.
See, that's our two-time winner there. And you'll see again when we see the replay. Watch that elbow move. He's a master of that. Really knows how to spend a lot of time in there. All right, now this is Agus Sumertayasa. And wow, you can hear the yells of the beach of the local boys. He's stoked. We're so excited to see him here. He lives about 400 yards from this break.
Oh, yes.
And he made it through the trials, and he's so excited to be able to surf Padang Padang with only 4 people out for 2 heats today. I was talking to him and the boys earlier, but every time he takes off, you'll hear the locals here on the beach just start screaming. Whether he makes the wave or not, he's a winner.
He is pumped up too. Look at him go as he fires back out into the lineup with Mega there. They boys are on fire.
The Bingen boys are on it right now, Vaughn.
Here we go. So a beautiful wave from last of Agus, just standing there enjoying the view. Didn't really have to race into that pinchy bit. And it was just, I think we're going to see a good score for that one.
Well, no question about it. I think Mega is going to be fantastic. You know what I love about Mega here is watch how he also survives the spit. Oh, here's Mason here. He's going to drop off the bottom. Now he's really going to collapse right there. Really try to get into that tube. And it's that dastardly shoulder that can cause you so many problems here
it is.
Padang Padang.
The way that he gets down so low and completely body stalls, he does it better than almost anyone. He really can extend his board off his body and use his entire rig basically to slow himself down. This angle here is going to look fantastic. Mega in the pit, big spit, comes flying through that racing inside section. Loving the feel of that one. A little high five in the channel with Mason Ho, and Yeah, we've seen a few of those go down in the past.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's such great energy in the channel. A lot of stuff goes on in the channel. Are we...
We are going to cross down with Mel, who's going to speak with Wilco. Matt Wilkinson.
We're here with Matt Wilkinson, goofy footer from Australia. Matty, how are you feeling before your heat? We just saw a pretty nice set come through.
Yeah, that's so exciting. To get waves like this is so rare, and to get it with 3 people out's even more rare. It's almost unheard of, so I'm so excited to get out there and hopefully get some barrels.
And you're pretty close to home. Have you ever surfed Padang with this little of a crowd? You haven't been in this comp before?
Nah, I've surfed out here in similar conditions, but with about 400 people, so I'm pretty excited to do it with 3.
Matty's had a few event wins, one being in Fiji, so we're pretty used to seeing you on your backhand doing a fantastic job. What's your game plan for today, Matty?
Get as many barrels as I can while I can. I don't know, this contest is all about getting barreled, so I'm just going to spend as much time in there as I can and try to find some big chunky ones, and yeah, I'm excited.
Epic, we're excited to watch you, Matt Wilkinson.
So sick to have Wilco back in the Rashi here at Padang.
Mega Samadhi.
Here goes Mega finding a racy one. Looking for this end bowl. It's not there. He throws the finner. And Wilco, yeah, he's just pumped, I think, to surf with 4 guys out here. Well, I know he'd like to win, but...
As I said earlier, he was looking like an eagle when he was up on the cliff. He was focused, keeping his eye on this thing. I mean, you know, like I said, him and Mason, they may have the reputation of being like good time Charlies, but their surfing is so spectacular and they take it so seriously. I mean, to win at Fiji is no small feat. And we know he's a tube-rider. He's going to be, Wilkinson's going to be facing this wave. It's going to be a big advantage. And like you said earlier, Yvonne, the smartest thing to do is watch Mega Samadhi real close.
Stay real tight to the boys, especially the local boys.
Well, Benji Brand in green sitting out the back with priority. Another interesting thing about Benji is he's competed in the Billabong Pipe Masters twice by getting through with the trials and being awarded a wild card into the event. And he's always a surfer entered into the Vulcan Pipe Pro, so he's definitely a barrel charger.
Well, you know what I love about Benji's style is once he sets it up, once he gets in the tube, he's like concrete. Watch his front leg. He's really got it anchored. It's a little more forward than most surfers have, and he's low on his back hip. So he almost sits on his left ankle and then puts that front foot out, and he's just anchored so beautifully, you know. Here's a replay of Mega. And a little smaller tube here. He's going to go for an air here, which is more celebratory than anything here because the judges aren't really looking for that. They're looking for getting in those tunnels. But as I was saying about Benji, I really love how once he picks his line, he's like an F1 driver. He's got his line through these curves, and I think he's a beautiful tube rider.
Yeah, I love really good point to make. The best tube riders know their line as they're pulling in. And they might make subtle adjustments here and there, but I mean, all the greats who you've seen, especially over here in Indonesian waves, you know, you talk about Al Byrne, Jerry Lopez in the early days, Peter McCabe, they all just had big boards that you had to set a line with and just know exactly where you were going to send it. And, you know, the boards have changed size over the years and all that, but that sort of mindset of knowing how you want to thread this thing, that has not changed.
Well, I agree. You know, I mean, we paddle out into the ocean and we face these, you know, swirling waters and these vortexes and the whole thing. And there's only one real choice we have once we take off on a wave, and that is the choice of focus. What are you going to focus on? Are you going to focus on, you know, doing an air to get some points, or have you got your choreography, you know, in your head? On this wave, there is no choreography. There is one thing. Do the ultimate thing that every surfer dreams of before they fall asleep at night, and that is a big, deep barrel in Indonesia.
Love it, mate. You nailed that. It's funny, isn't it? You just never, ever get sick of getting pitted. Doesn't matter how much you surf, how angry you want to get it, what you read online, or whatever's going on in your life. If you're getting out there and you're getting pitted, you're coming in like a changed person.
No question about it. It's a very cleansing experience, you know, and a lot of it has to do with the magic of this island. You know, Bali, in its real name is Bali Dweepa. It was given that name in Sanskrit in the year 913.
You have done some research.
Well, yeah. Well, it means Bali Dweepa actually literally translates to an island of offering. And I will say today that we've got some great surfing on offer. I'll tell you that much.
That's beautiful.
So it's a magical place, and we're very lucky to be here. I mean, surfing in the shadow of the Great Monkey Temple here. To all of us that live here, we're just so proud to share this, not only with the world, but the visitors that come here. And I'll just say one more thing. I'm so stoked that the visitors, when they come here, they keep this beach spotless.
Beautiful words there, Matt George, as we come down to 3.5 minutes remaining. Benji Brand, he's got a big set here. Flies off the bottom, paces himself, just heaves onto that front foot. Look at that, double arm draw through the pit. And he's looking stoked as, speaking of, the Island of Offering, gives him a beautiful little gift there.
How stoked did he look? He had a huge smile coming out of it. Anyone would have. He had to back up that 7.5 because Mega Samadhi just posted an 8.0.
Which we expect, of course.
Which we expected. That double barreled through, but...
Take it, Lorca.
Well, here's Benji. Does the full kickstall there and gets barreled. Looked like he was almost going to outrace it, but he stalls it again there for more tube time. Perfectly surfed there.
He looks like he's, you know when you're fanging on your BMX and you want to go faster and so you lean over the handlebars? That's kind of the vibe he's got going on that one.
Well,
Look
you'll
at
see.
that pit, that was psycho.
You'll see on that
Sick
way,
one.
Benji actually put his right hand on the deck of the board, almost as if he was urging it to go forward. Now, when you look at his GoPro footage of his win at Skeleton Bay, you will see his hand go down onto the nose of a board. It's a technique that I haven't seen since the 70s, really.
Who used to do it? Maybe Chappie Jennings on the backhand?
Chappie, yes. Let's watch this. Here's Benji. Comes around the corner. He really slams on the brakes there. Bang. Now he's got to set that line. There's that concrete line. Look how solid he is right here. Okay, he's dragging that backhand. He's doing a little Mega Samadhi there with the elbow, leading with the elbow. And now his hand will go, as he gets deep in that tube, you'll see his hand just urging his whole board forward. Wow, that was a beautiful ride. You know, the judges don't often get to see what happens inside the wave, which is sometimes some of the most impressive stuff.
That water angle then really did show the detail of what he had to do to get as deep as possible. Even a little bit of a floater on the foam ball just for one moment, which just feels extra special. Maze, here's a different takeoff from him. Uses that rinsed off speed beautifully to find cave time on the outside, straight to the Cheetah 5.
I got to tell you, I quite frankly, I've never seen that done. Wow.
1 minute to go. A flurry of action here at the Rip Curl Cup. Padang is starting to turn on, folks. Hope you're enjoying this at home as Mega gets another one. Doesn't quite get that turn railed off as much as he would have liked to, but another impressive heat from this kid who is basically, two-time winner already?
Yes.
Yep. And a local from this very beach.
And speaking of impressive, I wasn't sure whether, Mason Ho understood, was this a bodyboarding contest? He dropped in on his stomach and somehow used that to stall himself into really a competitive tube.
Well, Benji Brand now on his third wave. Third
Just
scoring
finding
wave.
the
Look at this thing.
trainers, isn't he, across the inside? That was so much tube time on that wave. Comes past Mel in the boat there, the interview boat. We're going to count this one down.
Wow.
This has
Benji
been
Brand.
busy.
Here goes Agus Dog. He's
Go
going
Agus.
for it.
Come on, mate.
What?
Yes.
That was
He's
incredible.
feeling it on that one.
And the beach is going crazy here. All the Padang locals and the Bingen locals, they're going mad right now. That was a beautiful ride. That might change these rankings.
Critical last exchange there in the dying seconds.
Wow.
Everyone in the heat throwing it down in the last 3 minutes there. That was incredible stuff. Agus, that was amazing, Matt.
Wow. I was still trying, my head was still trying to wrap myself around Mason Ho's wave, and then Agus takes this one. Wow.
Let's have a run
Take
through
a look at this
here.
one.
Yeah, this is one of the best we've seen, and I mean it's early. It's early days. He comes out with a double fist claim. This was a pretty original takeoff. But it did. It just slowed him down enough when he got to his feet to just get perfectly pocketed. And then he does that front rail grab again, flies out into the Cheetah 5. But I think it's a goose who everyone is looking at in terms of what is that going to score.
Don't forget Benji's wave, though.
Oh, Benji's wave was crazy.
Drainer, too.
I was going to say that. This is, what, my 10th Rip Curl Cup, and I got to say, Benji is really looking like a threat to win right now.
Here's Mason's wave from the water. Classic takeoff.
Look at this beautiful bottom turn.
I know.
Okay. Look, it's full rail bottom turn on his belly. Fantastic.
And just slowed him down beautifully. He didn't have to do anything other than just grab the rail, get on the foam ball. Wow, that angle really does make a difference to how you see these tubes being ridden. There it is.
Oh, switches hands.
Switches hands for the reverse frontside toe grab, and then he's back. You could have missed that.
Isn't it interesting that the judges would not have seen that? The judges would not have seen him switch hands because the ultimate act in surfing is riding inside a wave.
All right, well, waiting on scores to drop, but we will take a quick commercial break and be back with more of the Rip Curl Cup here at Padang Padang in just a moment.
With the Search GPS 2, you can set the time, the tide, surf conditions, anywhere and everywhere, inside and outside.
With the touch of a button.
Rip Curl.
The Search GPS 2 syncs your watch to your iPhone without you having to do anything.
I always log in to check what the waves have been like at home and who's been ripping. Rip Curl.
Using plastic at our events has always been the norm. Recycling helps, but most plastic still ends up here, or worse, here. Plastic never goes away, because with plastic, there is no away. At the rate we're going, by 2050 there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. It's a deep problem, but there are steps we can all take. By cutting out single-serve plastics at our events, we can start turning back the plastic tide. This is our commitment for a stronger ocean. What's yours?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here at Padang Padang Beach. This is the Rip Curl Cup Heat 3. Crazy stuff went down at the end of Heat 2. I'm still not sure who won, so hopefully we get a little update on that a little bit later on. But two-time winner, Made Boladiputra, he doesn't care one bit. He's straight in the tube where he does his best work. That was a screamer of a ride. I'd like to welcome back the smart clip here, Matt George, Lorca Luaris. How was Bowl start to that heat? Just seen that.
Well, look, as many times as you and I have done the Rip Curl Cup, I got to tell you, Mark, Made Wanada Adiputra, known as Bull, is my favorite surfer in the event. He surfs like a bullfighter, you know. He gets as close to the horns as possible and still makes it look graceful. He's my favorite surfer, and I want him to win.
Oh, okay. So it's just gone straight out on a limb and gone, okay. So you and me, we like to bet all the time. So he's gone straight for Bowl. And that score is going to be a blockbuster score because I still don't know the numbers of that last heat, but I reckon that thing Benji Brown got, Argos right at the end, there were some crazy waves that went down, all trying to better Mega's 8-point ride as the best wave of the morning. Have they done that? I'd like to confirm one way or the other whether that has happened. Okay.
So what do you think, Mark? I think that Agusa's wave might have pipped Benji's, but they're going to be close in score, I think.
Let's just stay with the live action here. Wilco, straight in the tube, frothing like a demon here to get the call up. Woo! Rip Curl team rider. And it's getting better out there, Matt. There's more waves breaking.
Well, as we know, the morning sickness is over. We're going to get those beautiful trade winds that bless this island, and it's just going to groom this thing like blown glass.
Blown glass.
Yes.
Lorca, what do you reckon? What are you seeing, mate? You've surfed here a lot.
Same thing. I'm seeing that more of a smooth face coming through. It seemed like there was still a little bit of wobble earlier, even though it was glassy and offshore. And here we go. Here's what we're seeing right here.
This is Matt Wilkinson here.
Matt Wilkinson's last wave.
Now here's a real pro at work right there.
He took his time, didn't he?
Yeah, he was patient, and that was a real professionally ridden wave.
Geez, I'd really like to see Bowles opening right again, because for me, I think that could be the highest score so far this morning. He was deep. He came over the foam ball right there. I'm loving that camera angle that you're saying from the channel, Matt, because I hope the judges are seeing that. I hope there is the facility up there for the judges to get those actually right.
Whoa.
Who is this in green?
Clay Marzo.
Clay Marzo.
Here we go.
Frontside layback. What was that all about?
I can't wait.
He's just out Mason Ho with that little trick. That was crazy.
Wow. Not Clay Marzo, it's Clay Mason now. Wow, that was incredible. Yeah, some great surfing going on so far in this heat. I mean, right off the bat. Well, hopefully the waves will keep pumping like this. Interesting move by Clay Marzo.
That was bizarre. I can't wait to see what the hell went on from the channel view, from the water vision. Hopefully we get to see that part of it again, because that was intense. I wonder what went going through his brain when he's gone, right, I'll just do this forehand layback thing. Here it is again, folks. This is crazy. We expect, a lot of theatrics from Clay Marzo. He does the bizarre things well. And look at that. He's still just laying back even further. So that, I have never seen that done out here.
That's the second thing I haven't seen before. Mason Ho's belly wave and a front side layback. Was it a stalling maneuver, or was he just having a great time?
I've seen James Labrador do them a long
That's
time
true.
ago, yeah.
Sure.
Front side for us regular footers.
Yeah.
But the Hawaiians are bringing out all the old tricks, yeah.
And the thing is, Lorca, it's 8:30 in the morning. We're halfway through round one. And the boys are just throwing down just some bizarre activities out here at Padang. It's absolute gold. So let's say, this is what I really want to see, folks. Do not blink. Have a look at this. So here's Marzo. It's a semi-little kick stall to get himself deep enough. Then he goes, I don't think I'm quite deep enough. I think I'll just put my body and my head into the foam ball. Here he goes. Look at this thing. Leaning back, and then just takes it to a little bit more extremities and goes and lays on the foam ball. What is that? Waving to his mum and dad out there. Look at that. That is ridiculous.
Wow. That is wild.
How do you do that? My knees are hurting. Watching that, Clay Marzo, you are an absolute genius.
That is
Bravo. Bravo, man.
Touche, Clay Marzo. That's the best move I think I've ever seen.
I think he should get a special award just for that.
Now
Wow.
it's got to go into next year's top 5 moments.
Oh, it has to. It has to.
That was as good as I've seen out here. That was just bizarre to the absolute extreme.
And an 8.5 was awarded for Clay's wave. That was
Why
insane.
not?
Yeah, that was a bizarre barrel.
It was probably a 7-point tube with 1.5 for originality.
Exactly. Wow. Even Mason would perk up at that one.
Mason's going, what? He'll probably go over and check the replay and go, right, damn.
Wow.
What's he going to do next?
You know what's interesting, guys, is that, the ultimate moment in surfing, of course, is being inside the wave, being inside the vortex. And, without all these cameras, we spend our time seeking this place where our best surfing is done when no one can see us.
You and the foam ball.
Yeah.
Hey, tucked away there.
Well, I find myself there every day, as you know. With my deep tube riding, you've seen it. You've seen it yourself.
Those new mayhems are taking you to new levels, yeah?
Boy, are they ever.
Oh, Matt George. So, what a season it's been, Indonesia, Jesus, throwing up swell after swell, and that they've actually bypassed a couple of pretty chunky swells with some good direction to get to today and hold off and hold. What are your feelings on the call, Lorca? Because there must have been a few days looking at the forecast where they were potential start days.
Yeah, there were. There was definitely a few days that they could have possibly ran, but it still didn't look grunty enough from their perspective, and I feel they made the right call. Just let everyone have a few waves before the event got underway. And now look at this whole week. There's several swells lining up.
Oh, it's been the story of the last couple of months, basically.
Well, you got to understand, the Rip Curl Cup is very, very lucky to have a secret weapon known as Nick Chong. He is an incredible wave caller, and he will, he'll look at 10 different computers, and he can tell the swell. So we depend on him, no doubt about it. Here goes Wilkinson again. He's off the bottom. Look at that beautiful style. Oh, wow. That was a nice, graceful little...
Come out.
I reckon he's coming out.
He's coming out. Oh, man.
Well, it goes from a 9 to a 1, just like that, folks. He goes bowl. What did he open with? Geez, his first score is not up yet. Was it inside the heat time? I'm not sure. Maybe it wasn't.
It might have been before the
Here he
horn
goes
went
again.
off.
So he's going to have to do it again, and indeed he does. He knows how to park himself
Wow.
out there. 2-time winner. He's riding a quad. I saw him paddle out on that thing.
When you think of the amount of spit that has been blown at his back and past him where you can't even see the shoulder and you've got to feel it, I mean, that is why he is a 2-time winner, and that's why he's my pick to win.
All right, so Matt George's pick. All right, we're going to have to come up with some commentators' picks as we go throughout the day. So have a think about it, Lorca. I'll get some input from you later on. But Chongy's on the beach. Chongy, good morning. I saw him in there just, flexing around, looking pretty sharp as always. Pretty much the most well-dressed guy wherever he goes. Style master. But he's the guy that sort of bottom line makes the calls on whether we run or not. He crunches the numbers. He's a guru forecasting here at Padang, and a lot goes into it.
The Oracle.
There you go.
Yes. We call him the Wave Whisperer.
The Wave Whisperer.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Here's my pick. All right, now, what I love about this is he's always graceful, and he's doing a little bit of mega there, leading with the elbow and doing the double hand stall. He's very, very comfortable in there. Here comes the spit that gets thrown out of the tube when the wave starts to compress, and there's that bullfighter style, not scared. And there's a moment here I really like. Watch this. Watch he gets real style. Look at that. Right there was that nice little instant where he was looking for style rather than function. I just thought it was beautiful.
Well, they're all going to get a number of waves here in the heat. 30 minutes with priority as we just watch Bowl just weaving through this thing. His first wave was longer and better than that. So I think we're still missing a number off Bowl, or it was before the heat. Anyway, this is a really well-threaded tube rod. You can see he was hanging on by his toenails for all he was worth, leans into the right spot, picks the right line, as he's done numerous times. So well done there, Bowl. Great wave. It's absolutely game on here in Heat 3. I'm going to have a pick now early in the day if I can.
Please, if you would, Mark Clift.
I'm going to go Marzo.
All right. Well, with that kind of creativity that he showed, okay, I'm buying it.
And my reasoning behind that is let's flash back to his one and only other time here in 2016. He made the final up against Mason, Damien Hoggood and Mega Samadhi. He got a fourth, but he could have won that thing. Hands down, he could have won that thing, and he was probably the form surfer going into that grand final. Based on the fact that I haven't seen him surf for a long time, he's got the Rashi back on. We know he's an extremely talented athlete whenever he gets on a surfboard. It's when he does his best work. I think he's going to make a statement here this year and prove that he probably had every right to have his name on the Rip Curl Cup back in 2016, his only other performance here. So he's my pick. How about that?
Well done. Bravo. I think it's a brave pick, and it makes sense. I was thinking when I was watching Adi Putra on that last wave where you get that spit that comes and blasts you in the back. There's only two people that feel that. Let's watch this here. This is Koki. Now, Koki is a Uluwatu local. He's just from the south here, and he fought his way through the trials, and he's a real favorite. You can hear the Uluwatu guys screaming right now, he's sort of a mascot of Uluwatu. He's always smiling, very cheerful. He grew up in the water, and he's really comfortable. He's a very, very popular character around here, and by God, if he didn't fight his way through the trials and get second place behind Radicha, he's no slouch, and I think we're going to see some performance from him. You'll see how comfortable he is here, setting it up. A simple crouch, not quite as low on his back foot as most surfers are. He surfs very, very upright, which is courageous, certainly, when you're in these tubes, but you could get clipped in the head. You got to be careful. Now watch. He's going to stand up a little more than, say, the way Mason Ho collapsed like a marionette, Koki, he stands up like a man in that tube.
All right, so there's a number of good scores thrown down early in this heat. What have we got? 20 minutes still on the clock. Look at those numbers. 8-5, best of the morning. 7-8-3 for Wilco, a 7-5-0 for Bowl. A pretty decent number for Koki's last rider, 5-1-7. So they're all well established. It's going to be an absolute shootout to see who walks away with the first place points, which is all important. Last year when we flashed back, Lorca, to doing this two surf theory where you surf for points, everyone that won a heat last year made it through to the top 8.
Well, they just proved that they were in form. And we watched Jack Robinson, the contest winner, every time he stood up on his board, he was getting deeper than the goofy footers on his backhand. That's
true.
Yeah, I mean, some guys just fall into rhythm with this wave, and if it's not your day, you can just fall out of rhythm and just get closeouts or get it shut down on the exits.
You know, Lorca, when Jack won that final when we were here, to me it reminded me of his Jack Robinson's dominance over Felipe Toledo at the box recently at the Margaret River contest. Okay, so tell us about the GoPro thing again, Lorca.
Well, all 16 competitors have been given a GoPro, and we've got some clips from what they're doing for this overall contest. They're doing a contest to see who got the best clip, and we have a little edit here that we're going to cut to right now.
Wow. I like.
Waves are firing. See ya.
Well, how cool is that? Welcome back, everybody, to the GoPro Challenge. And we've just seen some mighty fine footage. We've got some live action again. Bolt Adiputra in a wedge. He's going to have to wrestle this thing to work his way out, but he can't quite get there.
Well, it looks like Ball's riding that board that Bruce Hansel just shaped specially
Wow.
for this event. If I'm not mistaken, it's a 5.8, and Bruce from Hawaii whipped it out just in time for him to try it out the day before we started. And
well, Bruce is a renowned shaper out of Hawaii, and here he is living on the Phuket. He's got his daughter, who's a top surfer, and putting together a number of blades for some very quality surfers. And Bowles realised that and gone, give us one. Seems to be working.
Seems to be working very well.
We've just got Vaughan Blakey come back into the booth with us. Vaughan,
Thanks, Mark.
The beach is firing. There's a lot going on. We've got perched up down here for the first time ever. How good is it?
Oh, it's epic. And actually, just looking from the beach out towards the lineup, it looks way bigger than it looks on the TV screen as well. Wilco's one that he just sort of got clipped on, that looked huge from back here. So it's just epic to see that the pulse has come. And I heard a few of the boys talking and saying that on the back end, really, grab that rail, it gets bucky. Like it's not quite groomed into that nice smooth face yet. There's still a few challenges for especially the guys on their backhand by the sounds of things.
Well, Marzo's just strung together another ride. So did you see Marzo's bizarre antics on that tube?
Fair dinkum.
Have you ever seen anybody laid back that far onto a foam
That
ball?
was absolutely sick. That was like a cross of 8 different disciplines of sport all rolled into one.
God, he's got a
Wild.
907 to back up that 850. Now, we're having a little commentators cup, all right? Matt George has picked Bolt Adiputra as his potential champion come the end of the grand final. I picked Marzo, so I got him before you. So you can wait till the next heat's done if you want, but we're going to pick a surfer each. We're going to throw in 100th hour each.
Okay.
And we're going to have a commentators cup.
I like it.
So Lorca's going through the draw now. Have a think about it, boys. We get one pick. We'll see who's standing at the end of the day. A 907. Look at Marzo, the 2 best numbers of the day.
Wow, he's just really put that invite in his back pocket, zipped it up and said, yep, that's staying there from now on. He's worth every little bit of that invite. From the West, right?
Well, he's been
Where's
living
he from these days?
Well, I'm not sure where he is. I think he come back from Hawaii to be in this event, but he has spent a lot of time up in Kalbarri with the boys up there, all the demons up there. We'll have a look at this live action.
They'd all be watching. G'day, all the fellas.
Yep, the Browns and Crakey and everyone else that lives up there.
Here goes Wilco into the pit. Sorry, mate. And, finding tube time. Is he going to get an exit here? Oh, so that would have been a 10 all day if he had found his way through that. I don't know how far along he got. And out the back.
Koki.
Here goes Koki.
Here goes Koki, showing some local flair. Stalling, he knows this one's going to barrel. There you go. Staying high, and doggy doors it.
Finds it.
Well, we had a number of different lines going on in that heat and somehow found the exit. It was, I think he would have been surfing blind there at the end of that tube ride because there was a fair bit going on. The door shut and he found another little squeaky exit, so well done.
Oh, incredibly well surfed. I just wondered, is there a common thought or process out here, Lorco, where first wave you let go, second wave, is there any of that sort of stuff going on? Because Benji was kind of getting through on inside runners on the first wave of the set, but then Agus was getting the big bombs.
Well, I'd say that as long as it's not the last wave of the set, because sometimes those can go a bit funky because of the first big ones that roll through them. It sometimes gets a little whitewashy and doesn't barrel as much. But yeah, I'd say that the first couple waves of the set are generally the choice.
Okay.
Yeah, or especially if the tide gets too low.
Yeah.
And it's starting to do that weird wig out thing it does, and it splits into two on the inside bowl. That can be dastardly. And you don't even know that's going to happen until you're actually in the tube and you're almost looking at an exit, and then it just splits into two.
That's
and goes
crazy how it does that too, isn't it?
On you, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it can go dry on you, yeah.
Low road or high road, where am I going?
Is there a road?
Dry reef popping up in the barrel.
Just a track full of rabid monkeys and froth all around their mouths coming at you.
Well, this heat's been extraordinary, especially for Marzo. Look at his numbers. Jesus. 17.57.
But that being said, sometimes if you wait for the biggest bomb on the biggest days, they can sometimes go a bit fat on you too, when it's really, really starting to max.
Just thinking back to some of the best waves I've seen in this event over the years, there was a Bruce Irons wave out here. I don't know if you guys recall that one. It was just top to tail, and that first little bonus tube was actually felt like it was like a good 6 to 8 footer on its own before it even got to the inside bowl. And they're the ones. If we can somehow get to a point at the Savo where we're seeing those mackin' sets where everyone's got a chance to show us what they can do, then all of a sudden this thing becomes, I don't know, like a Wild West shootout, doesn't it?
Well,
the quick and the dead.
We're watching Wilco. He sort of just fumbled around a little. That wasn't the right wave. But back to the Bruce Irons thing. I remember that day when he got that wave. There were some other numbers that got thrown down. I think some 10s had gone down and blah, blah, blah. And he caught that wave and everybody's gone, my God, that was a 15.
Here goes Clay, standing bolt upright, frontside layback again. I could watch that all day long. That is an incredibly bizarre thing to see done with that much technique and expertise. That's psycho.
It's his new signature move he's bringing to the world of surfing. We haven't seen him for a while, and he's popped up and he's just come up with his new move. And I hope we get the chance to have a chat with him up here, mate, because that would just be all time.
Well, yeah, we'll get him up. But there's a guy in Byron. His name's Ari Brown, and I've seen him do them. I've seen him do them in the past, but
sort of a forgotten tube move that they're bringing back in this event. It seems like they've brought back read through all the textbooks of how to ride the barrel, and they're bringing back some moves. Mason and Marzo for sure. Here we go. Clay's wave. He's a big guy too, so he's standing up tall in this one, no problem, and then goes for the layback.
Well, how's the decision? 1 second he's just standing there enjoying the view, and then he's like, oh, I'm going a little quick here. I might just lay back on the foam ball. This is a nice deep tube here. We're going to see an exit. No.
Well, we still haven't heard from Benji Brand either, have we? The winner of the last heat. I'm sure he's out there somewhere. So, Benji, if you can hear us out there, mate, don't be shy. We'd like to get your mug on the web and show everybody what Benji Brand looks like and hear a bit about him.
Well, he's just getting seen to by the event medical officer.
What happened?
Matt George. He's just got a little clip on the shin. Nothing too bad.
Nothing too bad. Johnny Uluwatu's just confirmed. Nothing too bad. Probably needs 6 stitches.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's not too bad for
what's taking him
a meeting
so long?
with a reef out here.
Get him up here. 6 stitches. They could stitch him up while he's sitting here.
6 stitches, a little duct tape,
interesting
back out there.
He'll be back out there, mate. That was a great performance. His last wave, second last wave, a 7.77 to take that heat win over Mega Samadhi. So 10 points in the bank on the leaders board, all important.
Well, there's an old saying that there was nothing you couldn't get fixed in Indonesia without a thong and an ocky strap.
That's right, or a bit of gaffer tape.
Maybe we'll just see Matt George ocky strap a thong to his cut.
Well, no wonder why Matt George had to bolt. He's our paramedic. He knows what's going on, and he's willing to help anybody. He's just gone, I'll do it. He's probably over there directing the stitches right now as we speak.
Remember that Mentawai trip we did for the rip curl up at Macaroni contest, and he stitched up 3 people,
Oh, he
2 to
loves
3
it, doesn't
people
he?
on that trip.
He loves it. He would have pushed the medics out of the way just then, got the rubber glove
The
on
boat
and gone,
captain,
I'll do it.
He stitched up the boat captain.